What was that? Sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, I was going to say I'll do an intro in about 10 seconds. Sounds like a plan?
Yep, sounds like a plan.
Good evening, Ohio. James Ernest of the Grueling Truth, the radio network, here with Andrew Reed of NWF. He is the inaugural, he is the Dream House champion, and we're excited to have him on the phones with us today. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. I am excited to be on the phone with you tonight, and also, might I add that I'm the best Dream House champion of all time.
That is true. You do hold that distinction, and hopefully you'll be holding that distinction for a long time. Now, a lot of people, I know you have a lot of nicknames. What are some of those ones out there?
In my early days, people called me Mr. Right Now because I'm not the future. I'm the right now. But lately I've been rocking out, so they call me the king of rock and roll, not to be confused with that Elvis guy.
I know what you mean. I was going to say, I know wrestling's got a great history of music acts that have been top-notch wrestlers, from the Honky Tonk Man to Elijah, and, of course, now you. So where are you from?
Me, I was born and raised in Cincinnati, but I did spend some time living in the Detroit, Rock City, Detroit, Michigan.
Nice. So what sports you play growing up?
Sports I played, so I was into wrestling. I played a little bit of football, but really the sport that caught me, and this is not your average sport, but I was into rugby. I played a lot of rugby throughout high school.
That is funny. I was going to say, I just had another rugby player last week. I had Luke Williams of the Bushwhackers, and he was talking all about all the rugby he played growing up. So that is kind of cool that I wouldn't have guessed you all had that in common.
Yeah, I mean, rugby, man, what a sport, you know. You want to talk about something that will toughen you up, like that is where it's at. I have a lot of great memories on the rugby field. The pitch.
The pitch, exactly. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, he was going on about how, of course, the American people, we have helmets and shoulder pads and all for our football players where they don't need any, that kind of thing, about how being such a manly sport.
Yeah, I will say, though, I've been hit pretty hard in the ring, but the one time I can ever recall actually seeing stars was during a rugby game. I got a blindside hit out of nowhere, and let's just say the king took a tumble that day.
So who trained you?
I am trained by Roger Ruffin, the man. He runs Bonekrushers Pro Training Center in Cincinnati. It's at 6105 Vine Street. The best school you could go to, hands down, if you live in the tri-state area. I mean, I could not recommend him more. He is an awesome trainer, and I've learned so much from him. Speaking about all that you've learned, what are some of the things you've learned from him? I mean, just the ins and outs. I mean, not only have I learned, just how to become a professional wrestler, I've also learned how to carry myself, how to be professional, how to, basically represent the NWF in a positive light, and myself, because at the end of the day, like, we're marketing ourselves like we're wrestlers. We're trying to sell tickets, and he's really, put that knowledge into me early on too, and I have a lot of appreciation for him. Now, of course, Roger's taught some of the greatest throughout the years. Could you go over a couple of people that he's taught that you might have learned something from? Oh gosh, I mean, well, obviously we all know he trained Carl Anderson, or Machine Gun Carl Anderson, who was in WWE, now in Impact. But also a guy that I have become close to, he trained the Monster Abyss, who in his NWF days was known as Prince Justice. And I've gotten to see him, at a few shows and stuff, and he's actually put input on our matches in the back. Because I don't know if you know this, but he's a producer for the WWE, so he does a lot of behind-the-scenes work, and to have him, listen to us, listen to the match, and give input, it was really cool. It was a really great experience. He's a great guy to learn from, really, really awesome guy. Everybody I've met from the NWF is just absolutely tremendous. Wildcat Chris Harris, another guy, definitely can't fail to mention him. I mean, he always is just, he's got advice whenever we're watching matches. He'll have comments about them, and it's always stuff that gets your mind turning. Nasty Russ, Pompano Joe, all those guys from the NWF, they're all great guys. Learned a lot from them. I owe a lot to them.
Excellent. Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like there's some great alumni from Bonekrushers. It sounds like they come back, they contribute, they give to help give to the next generation, like you said, with the Monster Abyss, helping the comments and different things, ways that you can improve. Same with Chris Harris. Actually, Carl Anderson, we were lucky enough to have him on the week before the Talking Smack event he put on recently. He was awesome. He had same thing as you, had nothing but great things to say about Roger. So who do you train with? Because we know who trains you. Roger's doing the training. But who are the other students in there? Who are you learning with?
So we got a lot of students there. We got guys that are on the show, and then we got guys that are coming up. And actually, one of the big features of our show lately has been the Future Stars. And with the Future Stars, you'll see a lot of the young guys that have been starting training, and it's their way of basically getting an opportunity to get out there and, really put what they've learned to the test. And I actually am very proud of the Future Stars because some people know this, but I was a major part of the start of it. And at the beginning of the Future Stars, there was a guy named Jordan Clearwater who also is having a lot of success in the wrestling world, who had a series of matches with me that main evented those first couple Future Star shows and really got them off and running. I mean, we had a great group of guys that really just took that show seriously and wanted it to become something bigger, and it's awesome to see it become something bigger today. And all those guys on it now are super passionate about it, great guys, and it's awesome watching the Future Stars.
Exactly. It sounds like it's a great training ground, and it sounds like your matches really opened some people's eyes and brought some attention to that to division.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think that the guys there are only keeping the momentum rolling, I mean, they got great guys like Prodigy. Juice had an awesome debut. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that, people might not know now, but they will know soon.
So who do you like to tag with?
Who do I like to tag with? Well, in the past I've tagged with guys like David Tyler. I did tag with Pompano Joe back in the day, but lately I have aligned myself with former NWF champion Joshua.
Interesting. Is that who you're going to be teaming with at this upcoming event on December 5th?
Yes, that is who it will be Andrew Reed, King of Rock and Roll, Mr. Right Now. I don't know. I might have another nickname by them. Dreamhouse Champion. There we go. The champion.
There you go. Yes.
And Joshua, the former NWF champion, top guy, against the Natty Boys, a team that has been around in the NWF for a long time. And let me tell you, these guys are no slouches. These guys are another group of guys you could learn a thing or two from. And it's gonna be a hard hitting match when they come face to face with me and Joshua. Me and Josh, we got chips on our shoulders. We got something to prove. We know that we're the young, up-and-coming talent, and we're ready to prove that. We're ready to show everyone why we're in the position that we are.
What is your favorite match so far in your career? Would you say it would be those Future Stars matches that really elevated the division, or have there been other matches along your career that you would say even more so than that?
Oh, there's probably two that I can think of off the top of my head that are really important to me. When I first started, I'm Mr. Right Now, I was Andrew Reed, but I didn't really have the rock and roll until Jesse Hyde came along. When I got in a rivalry with Jesse Hyde, that's when things really took off for me. That's when I really found a character that I could really sink my teeth into. I mean, I feel like a rock star, so it was just easy to tap into. And so our match at FanFest, which was my first ever FanFest, and that's the biggest event of the year for the NWF. At FanFest 13 a couple years ago, it was awesome. That is actually the match where I was crowned the King of Rock and Roll, and Jesse Hyde, We had a tremendous feud back and forth. I don't know if you know any of the history on it, but I did release a song titled "I'm Gonna Beat Up Jesse Hyde."
Ooh.
And yeah, it's definitely worth a listen. I'll make sure I send it to you. But then
Sounds
the
great.
other match that I would put up there is from last year's anniversary show. It was the cage match, and it did involve Jesse Hyde. It was him and Pompano Joe. They're reuniting hippies against me and Jeremiah, the bad dudes. And yeah, it was awesome to be put in the main event of the 24th anniversary of the NWF. Was just a great honor. And also, by the way, this Saturday night is the 25th anniversary of the NWF at the UAW Hall in Fairfield. So if you don't have your tickets, I'd get those for that show.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned one of the legends earlier, Wildcat Chris Harris. I believe he's got a big honor coming up with that.
Yes, he does. Wildcat Chris Harris is going into the NWF Hall of Fame, well-deserved, and I can't wait to hear his speech and can't wait to share the locker room with him again and just keep getting some knowledge from him. He's a great guy to learn from.
Definitely. So it sounds like there's a great atmosphere with the NWF. It sounds like there's a great learning opportunity for those who aren't in the business yet or are just starting out with Bonekrushers. So before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our fans learn more about you, the NWF, and Bonekrushers?
All right. Well, me personally, if you want to know more about Andrew Reed, it's _ Right Now Reed on Twitter, Right Now Reed on Instagram, and then you can find Andrew Reed on Facebook. But for the NWF, you can follow the Northern Wrestling Federation on Facebook. We also have a Squarespace online, and that's the way we've been selling a lot of tickets lately. So if you want to get tickets to shows, and you maybe with all the things going on, all the circumstances that are happening in our world today, maybe you don't want to go face-to-face or get them in store. You can buy them online now on our NWF Squarespace. All you got to do is type in NWF on Google. It'll pop up. It's the first thing. NWF Wrestling is also on Twitter at NWF Wrestling. You can follow our future stars there. And, yeah, just make sure you keep updated on our accounts. Every Sunday we upload Bustin' Loose, and you get a weekly recap of what's going on in the NWF so you can stay up to date.
Excellent. Andrew, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor to be here, and I am so proud to be the Dream House champion, and I can't wait to defend that title.